Question 1. 39 plus 673. One way to do this is to set it out as a column addition, and then 3 plus 9 is 12, so 1, 2. 1 plus 7 plus 3 is 11, so 1, 1. And 1 plus 6 is 7, so our answer is 712. But to save time, you could try to do this mentally. So 39 is close to 40, and if we add 40 to 673, we get 713, because we have 67 tens, and if we add 4 tens, we get 71 tens. But 40 is one more than 39, so we need to adjust by taking away 1 to get the answer. Question 2, 9 elevenths minus 4 elevenths. Well, here we already have a common denominator, and with subtraction, just like with addition, we always keep the denominator the same. So our denominator will be 11, and then we can just subtract the numerator, and 9 minus 4 is 5, so our answer is 5 elevenths. Question 3, 2 times 45. One way to do this is to set it out as a column multiplication, and then 5 times 2 is 10, so 1, 0. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, so our answer is 90. But to save time, you could try to do this mentally. Double 40, or 2 times 40, is 80, and double 5, or 2 times 5, is 10, so adding those up gives you 90. Question 4, 838 divided by 1. Any number divided by 1 is just that number, so our answer is 838. Question 5, 99 divided by 11. You should know your times tables up to 12 times 12, so you should know that 9 times 11 is 99, which means our answer is 9. Question 6, 5 times 4 times 10. We can multiply in any order, but if we work from left to right, we have 5 times 4, which is 20, and then we need to take that answer to take 20 and multiply it by our final number, so we have 20 times 10. If you're multiplying a whole number by 10, you can just put a 0 on the end, so 20 times 10 is 200, and that's our answer. Question 7, 7,064 minus 502. You could set this out as a column subtraction. So 4 minus 2 is 2, 6 minus 0 is 6. We can't do 0 minus 5, so we exchange. 10 minus 5 is 5, and 6 minus nothing is 6. So our answer is 6,562. Alternatively, instead of the column method, you might be able to do this mentally. If we subtract 500, we get 6,564, because we start with 70 hundredths, and if we take away 5 hundredths, that gives us 65 hundredths. So now we just need to take away 2 more to get our answer. So here the mental method is a bit more difficult, and if it's unclear, stick to the column method to make sure you answer correctly. But if you can, use mental methods, because you want to get through these early questions as quickly as possible. Question 8, 6 squared plus 10. So remember, this squared symbol means multiply the number by itself. So 6 squared means 6 times 6, which is 36. Then, if we add 10 to that, we get our answer 46. Question 9, 56.38 plus 24.7. If we write this out as a column addition, we need to remember to keep our decimal points lined up so that our digits are in the right place value columns. We can write 0 in empty spaces, and we need to remember to put the decimal point in our answer as well. Now we can just add as normal, so 8 plus 0 is 8, 3 plus 7 is 10, so 1, 0, 1 plus 6 plus 4 is 11, so 1, 1, and 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 8, so our answer is 81.08. You might have been able to do this mentally, because 24.7 is close to 25. And if we add 25, we get to 81.38. But because 25 is 0.3 more than 24.7, we then need to take 0.3 away to get our answer. Question 10. Something take away 10 is 298. So when the first number of a subtraction is missing, we need to use the inverse operation to get our answer. So we need to work out 298 plus 10, which is 308. So that's our missing number. And then we just check that what we've written makes sense. And yes, 308 minus 10 is 298. Question 11. 270 divided by 3. We could write this out as a short division. So 27 divided by 3 is 9, 0 divided by 3 is 0, so our answer is 90. But we could save time by working this out mentally. If we know that 27 divided by 3 is 9, we have 9 in our answer, and then because we have one end 0 in our dividend, we need an end 0 in our answer. Question 12. 5,400 divided by 9. We could write this out as a short division. So 54 divided by 9 is 6, 0 divided by 9 is 0, and 0 divided by 9 is 0, so our answer is 600. But we could save time by working this out mentally. If we know that 54 divided by 9 is 6, we have 6 in our answer, and then because we have 2 end zeros in our dividend, we need 2 end zeros in our answer. Question 13. 60 divided by 15. We know that 1 times 15 is 15, so if we add 15, 2 times 15 is 30, adding another 15, 3 times 15 is 45, and another 15 brings us to 60. And because that's 4 times 15, the answer to 60 divided by 15 must be 4. This is a question that you could probably do mentally without needing to write anything out. And once you've worked out that 2 times 15 is 30, you could double to find the answer rather than counting up past 3 times like we did just now. Question 14. Something equals 5,776 minus 855. Well, it doesn't matter whether the equal sign is at the start or at the end, we do the same thing. We can set this out as a column subtraction. So 6 minus 5 is 1, 7 minus 5 is 2. We can't do 7 minus 8, so we exchange to get 17 minus 8, which is 9, and then 4 minus nothing is 4. So our answer is 4,921. Question 15. 3,50,020 equals 3 million plus something plus 20. So we can see that the number has been partitioned, but this 5 digit in our 10,000s hasn't been, and because it's in our 10,000s, we know that it stands for 50,000. because you can see that there are 4 digits after the 5, so when we're partitioning it, we need 4 zeros after the 5. Question 16. 10 minus 5.4. We could set this out as a column subtraction, so we need the 5 under the 0 to keep our place values lined up, and then we know that if we have a whole number, we can stick a 0.0 on the end of it. We need the decimal point in our answer, and now we can subtract as normal. We can't do 0 minus 4, and here, to exchange, we first need to exchange with our tens and units, and now we can exchange with our units and tenths. So 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 5 is 4, and 0 minus nothing is 0, so our answer is 4.6. You might have been able to solve this more quickly by first taking 5 from 10 to get 5, and then taking away the 0.4 from 5 to get 4.6. Or you might spot that 54 and 46 make a number bond to 100, so 5.4 and 4.6 make a number bond to 10. Question 17. 5/7 plus 3 over 21. To add fractions, we need the denominators to be the same, so we can find a fraction equivalent to 5/7, which has a denominator of 21. 7 times 3 is 21, and 5 times 3 is 15. So we can rewrite our question, because 5/7 is the same as 15 over 21. So we have 15 over 21 plus 3 over 21, so now we keep the denominator at 21 and add the numerator. So our answer is 18 over 21. Now we could simplify this fraction, but we don't need to do this to get the mark, so let's just move on to the next question. Question 18. 0.1 divided by 100. So there's an easy way to divide by 100, and here's what we do. We write out the dividend, the number we're dividing, then we write a decimal point underneath the decimal point. Now with 100 we have 2 zeros, so the digits are moving 2 places, and we're dividing, so the digits are moving 2 places to the right. So we can take this 1 and copy it down 2 squares to the right. Then we need zeros in our other place value columns, so our answer is 0.001. Question 19. We need to find 3/4 of 1,000. Now it's useful to learn common fractions of 1,000 by heart, but if you don't know this, we find a fraction of a number by dividing by the denominator, then multiplying by the numerator. So we can first divide by the denominator. So 10 divided by 4 is 2, remainder 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 0 divided by 4 is 0. So we have 250. And now we can multiply that by the numerator. So 0 times 3 is 0, 5 times 3 is 15, so that's 5, and 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we have our answer, 750. Alternatively, we could have multiplied by the numerator first, so we could have done 1,000 times 3 to get 3,000. Then we could have divided 3,000 by 4, and we would have got the same answer. Just remember times top and divide denominator, and it doesn't matter which order you do it in. Question 20. 785 times 23. 5 times 3 is 15, so 5. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25, so 2, 5. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2 is 23. Now we've finished with 3 in our units, we can cross out our working and write a 0 in the last column of our second answer line. Now 5 times 2 is 10, so 1, 0. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17, so 1, 7. And 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So now we can add up our answer lines, and 5 plus 0 is 5, 5 plus 0 is 5, 3 plus 7 is 10, so 1, 0, 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8, and nothing plus 1 is 1. So we have our answer, 18,055. Question 21. 20% of 1,200. Remember, a percentage is just a fraction over 100. So if we remember that 20% is 20 hundredths, we can find 20% by finding 20 hundredths of the number. So to find a fraction of a number, we can divide by the denominator, so we can divide 1,200 by 100 to get 12, because remember, when we're dividing multiples of 100, we can cancel the end zeros. So now we can multiply that by the numerator, so multiply it by 20, which gives us 240. Because remember, 12 times 2 is 24, and then if we have one end zero in the question, we'll need one end zero in the answer. So that's our answer. Now we could have simplified 20 hundredths to 1/5. So then all we need to do is divide by 5. 12 divided by 5 is 2, remainder 2. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And 0 divided by 5 is 0, so we get the same answer. Question 22. 645 divided by 43. So we need our 43 times table. 43 is of course 1 times 43, but if we add another 43, we get 86. So that's 2 times 43. Now if we look back to our question, we can see that if we take the first two digits together, we have 64 divided by 43, and 64 is less than 86. So we can write 43 below the 64 and 1 in our answer line. So now we subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1, 6 minus 4 is 2, and now we bring down our 5. So we need to work out 215 divided by 43. If we add another 43, we get 129, so that's 3 times. Now let's add another 43, so 9 plus 3 is 12, so 1, 2. And I've written the 1 in red only so that it's easier for you to see on screen. Now 1 plus 2 plus 4 is 7, and 1 plus nothing is 1. So that's 4 times 43. Now let's add another 43. So 2 plus 3 is 5, 7 plus 4 is 11, so 1, 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So 5 times 43 is 215, and because that was what we were dividing by, we can now write 5 in our answer, and we don't have any other digits to divide, so our answer is 15. Question 23. 0.5 times 28. Now there are different strategies that we could use here, but if you're unsure, you can always just write it out as a column multiplication. So we have 28 at the top and 0.5 at the bottom. Now the place values here aren't lined up, But for multiplication, that doesn't matter, as long as we remember that if we have one decimal place in the question, there will be one decimal place in the answer. So it's a good idea to write in the decimal point straight away. Now 8 times 5 is 40, so 40, and 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Now because this next digit is a 0, and anything multiplied by 0 is just 0, we can ignore it. So our answer is just 14.0, or 14. Now what we've done here is quite an inefficient method. Perhaps you might notice that 0.5 is the same as a half, so we could have just found half of 28. And we know that to find half, we can just divide by 2. So that would have been a much quicker method. Remember, if it's easier, change decimals to fractions and work it out that way. Question 24, 1/2 plus 1/5. To add fractions, we need the denominators to be the same, but 5 isn't a multiple of 2. 5 isn't in the 2 times table, so this means we need to change both fractions. 10 is in both the 2 times table and the 5 times table, so let's find equivalent fractions with a denominator of 10. 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 5 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10, and 1 times 2 is 2. So instead of 1/2, we can write 5/10, and instead of adding 1/5, we can add 2/10. To add fractions, we keep the denominator the same and add the numerators, so our answer is 7/10. Question 25. 1 3/4 plus 3/4. So we can work out 3/4 plus 3/4 and then add 1 to the answer. To add fractions with the same denominator, we keep the denominators the same and add the numerator, so we have 6/4. But we can't write 1 6/4 because we can't have a mixed number with an improper fraction, so we need to change 6/4 into a mixed number. That's 1 2/4, because 6 divided by 4 is 1 remainder 2, and the denominator stays the same. So now that we know that 3/4 plus 3/4 is 1 2/4, we can add that to our whole number to get our answer 2 2/4. We could simplify that, but for this test paper, we'll still get the mark even if we don't. But before we move on, there is another method for this question. We can convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. So 1 3/4 as an improper fraction is 7/4, because we keep the denominator the same, and then 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. We need to add 3/4 to that, and because both of our fractions have a denominator of 4, our answer will also have a denominator of 4. And then we can add the numerators to get 10. So our answer is 10/4. We could change it into a mixed number, but for this test paper, we'll still get the mark even if we don't. So let's move on to the next question.